Hello, everyone, and welcome to my TED Talk. Today I will be talking to you about my Genius Hour project, where I use the Genius Hour format to try and accomplish the goal of improving my reading comprehension skills in French. For those of you unfamiliar with Genius Hour, it is a project where you devote at least an hour a week to pursue a topic of interest to accomplish personal goals. My Genius Hour goal is to be able to cook a meal following recipes that are only in French without using any supplementary aids. I chose to focus on French reading comprehension for my Genius Hour project because I love learning languages, and I incorporated cooking into this goal because, in my personal experience, food and language are both great mediums to broaden your own worldview and experience different cultures. Initially, my Genius Hour goal was just to improve my reading comprehension skills, but I quickly realized when trying to draft the next steps how vague a goal was, and that the vaguer a goal is, the broader your scope for creativity. While this can be a good thing, the vast possibilities can make simple decision making processes overwhelming and impede on your ability to accomplish your goal. This is called the paradox of choice. To combat this, I realized that setting specific goals allows for more clarity in decision making processes and provided my project with a clearer pathway. So, that now that I knew what I wanted to do, it was a matter of finding out how to do it. This is where all the research comes in. I used a variety of sources to learn about the theoretical aspects of reading comprehension and language acquisition to see how I could apply them within my own project. What my research showed me was that fluency in comprehension requires a smaller internal vocabulary, than you would assume. In fact, linguist Paul Nation states in his work High Frequency Learning and Statistics that a much smaller size is needed to read than we are normally taught in a classroom. Based on the findings of my research, I decided to accomplish my goal by focusing on what it required. In this case, that was to compile a list of French words and idioms relevant to cooking and studying them in preparation for my task. I use a spreadsheet to compile my list because who doesn't love spreadsheets for organizing? I began with nouns because they are the easiest to think about, and in this context, I only need to know specifically about kitchen tools and ingredients. To help with this, I started by listing out all the kitchen equipment I own, which is what my final task would be limited by, and it significantly decreased the amount of nouns I would have to know. I also compiled a list of verbs, which is important when reading recipes because they tell you what to do when cooking. I focused on learning verbs in their present tense and imperative conjugations because that is what is normally used in English recipes, and when I looked at French recipes later on in the process, I realized the same thing is true in French. I continuously reviewed these lists throughout the weeks and added words and idioms to them when I came across them when looking at recipes to practice my comprehension skills. When D-Day came, I was confident in my recipe reading abilities, but the stakes were high. The menu I created would be for my sister and it would have to take into consideration the fact that she recently became a pescatarian. This actually helped a lot in the menu curating process because it narrowed down the search options. On the menu, we have okonomiyaki, which is a Japanese egg pancake and popular street food. I've never made this before or eaten it, but I have seen it online a bunch, so I was super excited to try making it. Next is chorba sans viande, which is vegetarian soup stew. Chorba means soup stew in Turkish, and I have had homemade versions of this before, but I've never made it myself. This recipe comes from a blog which says it's an Algerian variation. The last recipe is for fraises à la crème fouettée, which is strawberries with cream as dessert, from the website Cuisine as Z. It definitely got too hot for comfort in the kitchen at times, and the different sources of the recipes resulted in very different reading comprehension and thus cooking experiences. But as you can see from these pictures, I was able to cook all the recipes. That's right, those are all my pictures, not from the internet. And though I don't have any pictures of empty plates, I can assure you they were all delicious. I had so much fun completing this project, and I'm kind of in awe of the fact that I completed what I set out to. I am a notorious procrastinator and thus terrible at completing projects or goals, but this experience taught me so much about how to accomplish achievable goals within a time frame. Speaking for all other procrastinators, I think we all tend to assume that the more flexible your structure, the more creativity you can exercise. But through this project, I learned that there's so much room for creativity within a set structure, and that a set structure actually helps you accomplish what you want to create. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. I hope you enjoyed it. Bye!